All righty, everybody. Good afternoon. Hi there. Carson Meredith with you today, filling in for Brian Good, who has the day off. Give you an update on where things stand for what is going to be a very active weekend. And I'm afraid next week looks pretty active as well. So let's not waste any time. Let's just dive right into it. I'll briefly touch on what we're seeing this afternoon because it's a really nice day. Bright blue skies. See some of those thin, wispy clouds filtering in. From Jeffersonville looking across to downtown Louisville. We'll continue to see those clouds filter in as the afternoon progresses, but the big story not only is the sunshine, but it's also the warm temperatures and the wind. 77 already here in Louisville, with the wind gust upwards of 26 miles per hour. So that southwesterly wind and, of course, all the sunshine allowing those temperatures to surge compared to where we've been for much of this past week. And there is a very, very, very good chance that we head into the low 80s for those high temperatures this afternoon. We'll likely fall quite a bit short of the record for today, which is 87, but at least it'll be in the low 80s here in town. Wind gusts still expected to be around 30, maybe even 35 miles per hour through about, let's say, 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. And then that wind should relax just a little bit. But there'll still be a light breeze with us as we go through the overnight hours, too. As we mentioned, those high temps heading for the low 80s across the board. 82 this afternoon here in Louisville, upper 70s, near 80 elsewhere. So just kind of wanted to give you a quick summary of what to expect as you're out and about the next few hours. Warm and windy, but very, very likely we stay dry today. Big picture, there's two areas we're watching, one of which is off to our north across Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. That frontal boundary that it's been kind of stalled out nearby, giving us those rounds of showers this week, keeping things a little cool. It has lifted north, taking the rain with it. And now we just kind of wait on what we're seeing down here in Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas this afternoon. It's just good old-fashioned rain at this point. But this is going to be our source for rain chances on Saturday. So this is kind of the first wave that we'll be tracking as we head into this weekend. And then, of course, we turn our attention to that more concerning setup as we get into Sunday. I see all the comments. Don't worry, I'll get to them, but we're in a little bit of a time crunch here, so I kind of want to walk you through this information because there's so much to talk about. Let's focus on Saturday first. A lot of stuff happening around town. You got the 10-miler, the Louisville 10-miler tomorrow morning around 7:30. Lou City plays tomorrow. The Bats kick off their season tonight and throughout the weekend. We start things off mostly dry Saturday morning, perhaps some isolated showers or a few sprinkles, but I really think the rain chances are at their highest once we get past lunchtime on Saturday. Notice those rain chances really start to ramp up to our west, and for the most part on Saturday, it's just rain, nothing more than that. Perhaps some thunder late Saturday night, that is, but nothing severe expected, but you notice the rain chances will climb as we get towards Saturday afternoon, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. And then as we get into Saturday evening, showers still lingering around. It's going to be a warm rain too. Upper 60s, low 70s, a good bet. We'll keep those showers going Saturday night. This is when we might have some thunder that might wake you up briefly, but again, nothing severe expected Saturday night at least. Then we go to Sunday. So it looks like we're going to get a little break between the shower Saturday night and early Sunday and our severe weather threats Sunday afternoon and evening. But we've been looking over some of the newest data. We're starting to get into that high resolution range with Sunday evening setup. And not to scare anybody, not to alarm anybody, but it is a little concerning. We really need to keep our guards up on this. Same threats, same impacts. All modes of severe weather possible, damaging winds, hail, tornadoes, heavy rain. We still have a broad time frame right now for Sunday evening in particular. If you wanted me to nail down a more specific start time Sunday, I would say after 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. So around 5 or 6 p.m., that's when the severe weather window looks like it opens up across wave country. And this, again, is for Sunday. In case you missed it, we now have an enhanced risk for severe weather that covers every single one of our counties here in wave country. This is a level 3 risk on that 1 to 5 scale. And I would not be surprised if maybe not necessarily us, but someone nearby saw an upgrade to a level 4 moderate risk. I'm not going to say exactly where or who, because that's not my decision. That's the Storm Prediction Center's decision in Oklahoma. But I would say areas west of I-65 could see that risk get upgraded as we go through the next couple of days. That's where the more concerning setup is, not only for tornadoes, but maybe a couple of stronger tornadoes Sunday evening. And here's the reason why. Let's go through Futurecast. So we get to 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. Honestly, it doesn't look that bad just yet. Mid-70s, warm, but the problem is going to be the clouds clear out. We all know with a severe weather setup that clouds clearing out is not a good thing. So we're going to have a decent bit of sunshine, it looks like, Sunday afternoon before the main show arrives Sunday evening. So that gives us our instability. Check. We got a ton of it. Moisture. Dew points in the 60s, low 60s. Check. Instability. Yeah, that's going to be there for sure. And we'll have quite a bit of shear as well. So all the ingredients are going to be in place for some severe storms Sunday evening. Now, let's get towards 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Something that Ryan Hoke and I have been looking at in the office this afternoon are these front-running supercells. Now, because we're in that high-resolution range now, we can get a clearer idea of the storm mode. Supercells versus a line of storms. And this is kind of the first look at the high-res stuff, and it's suggesting that we could have some supercells in advance of the main line of storms later in the evening. I would tell you, I think the greater risk for that still is west of Interstate 65. So in our western counties, out towards western Kentucky, western Tennessee. But if some of those supercells can develop and push east, that would also increase our tornado threat Sunday afternoon, late afternoon, past 5 o'clock into Sunday evening. And this is also when some of those tornadoes could be a little stronger. And we don't say that to scare you at all. We're just kind of ramping up our tone a little bit to let you guys know this could be a substantial severe weather episode across the region. So while the main show isn't until later in the evening Sunday, we're kind of saying after 5 or 6 p.m. because we may have a few supercells developing as we get towards Sunday afternoon after that 5 o'clock time frame. That's where that tornado threat might be a little bit higher than it already is. So we watch that supercell potential at first. Then we get into the main show, which is Sunday night, Sunday late evening, after 8, 9 o'clock. That's when a line of storms will develop that will likely start off with supercells to our west that congeals into a line of storms, okay? Very similar to what we had a couple weeks ago, that Saturday morning where we had the tornadoes in southern Indiana. Similar setup, although I will say this setup looks a little stronger than what we had 2 weeks ago. So you notice this high-res model, and this is an in-house model that we have here at the station, but it kind of shows you that band, that squall line, QLCS, quasi-linear convective system, whatever you might want to call it, kind of blitzing right through the region, west to east, after 8 o'clock Sunday evening. Within that line of severe storms, we will likely have damaging wind gusts around 60, maybe 70 miles per hour. And there will certainly be enough shear for spin-up tornadoes along this line. So this might be kind of a two-part situation if we get those supercells in the afternoon around 4, 5, 6 o'clock. And then we get this main line of severe storms that rolls through after 8 p.m. And again, the timing is going to be more fine-tuned. We'll get more clarity on that as we go through this weekend. We get more high-resolution data. But this is kind of a first look at the more specific details that we might have to be dealing with here over the next couple of days. So this is Sunday evening, 10 o'clock. Line of severe storms, according to this forecast model, right along I-65. All modes of severe weather, damaging winds, perhaps some large hail, and spin-up tornadoes. Now, the good news with this setup, as we look at this more accurate, more precise data, is it's moving a little bit faster. So there may not be as much lingering rain or storms Monday morning as what we have been initially talking about. Nonetheless, we get after midnight, Sunday night into early Monday morning. We've still got some lingering severe storms in our far southern counties, quieting things down further to the north and west. And then as we get past, let's back that up a little bit. Let's say we get past 2 or 3 a.m., the severe weather threat ends. So is this going to be, 12 hours of severe weather? I don't think so. But what's going to concern me is these storms will be moving in as we get later into the evening while a lot of you are trying to go to bed. So this is going to be one of those setups where we plead with you to have those ways to get warnings to wake you up Sunday night. Especially if you're going to bed around 10 or 11 Sunday night, have those ways to get those warnings through about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Wave weather app. You'll get those alerts the second they're issued. NOAA weather radio. All of that good stuff. Make sure you have those ways to get those warnings Sunday night. All right. So that's the big picture view of where things stand. I'll leave it on Futurecast here. And then we will answer some comments and questions. Let's see. Good afternoon. I'm worried. I have a flight leaving at 8 o'clock Sunday evening. Hopefully no delays. Yeah, it's going to be a close call. It's going to be a very close call, especially if this timing lines up. Nathan saying hello. Seems like every year Jefferson County is on spring break. There's severe weather. It does, doesn't it? Which is a good thing. We don't have to worry about school delays or closings or anything like that as we get into Sunday evening. So let's see what other comments, questions we got. See, Adam's watching us in Bloomington. Good to see you as well, Adam. Hope you're well. At least it's going east quickly. Yeah, it's going to be moving east rather quickly. That's good. 5, 6 p.m. Will they be done by 8? Hard to say. I think we'll have kind of 2 waves of storms. We'll have to watch that supercell risk as we get towards 5 or 6 o'clock. And then after 8 o'clock, it'll be that round of severe storms along the line. Sammy says, we talking spin-up tornadoes? We talking long track ones? Well, for the most part, this is going to be spin-up tornadoes. But I will say if we have supercells develop earlier in the afternoon, like so, that's when we might have a long track tornado potential. So we can't let our guards down that more significant tornado threat just yet. Let's see here. See, Leandra's watching on Facebook. Hello, hello. Long weekend of soccer tournaments. Hopefully we can still play in Lexington. Well, tomorrow you should be fine. If it's just rain, you can play soccer for the most part, as long as the field's not too muddy. It'll just be to make sure that Sunday afternoon, those storms wait a little bit before or after those games are done Sunday. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's see. Several of you saying we're freezing up on Facebook. Everything looks good on my end, so let me double check on my phone here, make sure everything looks good. Yeah, it looks okay on my end, so it might be an internet issue if you're having trouble seeing me on Facebook. Sorry about that. Brad asked if the first wave of rain is strong enough, or the first wave of storm Sunday late afternoon, will it take away any fuel from the second wave? That's a tough question to answer, to be honest with you, Brad, because this first wave of storm Sunday late afternoon, 5, 6 p.m., it's not going to be everybody seeing storms necessarily. It's only going to be a select few. So I don't really see a way for this to lose its intensity, lose its instability as we get into that main show later in the evening. Could this bust? Yeah, it could, especially if that rain early in the day on Sunday holds around, the clouds hold around a little bit longer. Yeah, it could certainly bust if that happens, but right now we're not seeing that, unfortunately. So anyway, Todd says Kevin must still be out of town. No, he's back in town. He's coming in here in a couple of hours. He'll be here. We're all going to be here, in all likelihood, Sunday night into Monday morning. So Judy asks, will tomorrow be okay for outside activities? The earlier the better. If your outside activities involve, being out on a field or something like that, like if you're playing a sport or you have a birthday party or something like that, it's going to get a little damp Saturday afternoon with just rain, but there's no severe weather threat tomorrow. So hope that makes sense. So again, we're going to watch kind of a first wave of possible supercells after 5 or 6 o'clock Sunday evening, and then we turn our attention to that main line of storms after 8 o'clock Sunday evening. And again, the timing is going to be adjusted a little bit as we go through the next 48 hours or so. So just stick with us. We're going to be here on Wave Weather Now, on TV, social media, everywhere over the next couple of days. I'll be here all weekend watching these storms, and several of us on the team will be here on Sunday evening, no doubt. ZKS, I missed your answer about Sunday morning. No, I missed your comment. I apologize, ZK. So Sunday morning looks like just showers, okay? See those showers just kind of lingering early in the day? And if we see those showers clear out quickly, Sunday afternoon around lunchtime, our severe weather threat's going to go up as we head into Sunday evening. But there's nothing severe expected as we head into Sunday morning. It'll be Sunday evening where we have to watch that supercell risk, perhaps a stronger tornado or two if that were to occur. And then the main line of storms moves in after 8 p.m. Sunday night. So 5 to 6 p.m. for possible supercells, after 8 p.m. for the main line of severe storms. That's kind of our early thinking with the timing details at this point. Now, that's the story for Sunday. But next week, guys, looks very, very busy as well. Let's focus on the Wednesday of next week. So 5 days from now, we've got another risk for severe weather. If you watched us yesterday, we had the alert day in place for next Thursday. We've tacked on next Wednesday as well. This could be a very unsettled weather pattern, not just with severe storms, but also heavy rain. I'll talk about the heavy rain threat here in a moment. But as we get towards Wednesday night, similar timing to what we'll have Sunday night, we have another slight risk for severe weather across the entire region. And you notice this risk on Wednesday is quite large. Again, very similar to what we have, or what we did have for Sunday evening. So this goes all the way up to Detroit, Cleveland, Chicago, all the way down into Texas and Mississippi and Arkansas. So this is a pretty significant severe weather risk this far out, a large severe weather risk, if you will. And as we get into Wednesday evening, notice another line of strong to severe storms arrives. Very similar timing. But here's the big difference with this setup by the middle of next week, okay? This front, Wednesday night, it's not going to move through. It is going to stall out nearby. Now, that opens the door for a couple of things. One, if the front stalls out perhaps a little further to our north and west, like so, that might open the door for additional rounds of severe storms into Thursday, possibly into Friday of next week. But what you could also have occur, very similar to what we had a couple of weeks ago, where you have a low pressure develop along the stalled front, and that ushers in significant amounts of moisture, and that leads to widespread heavy rain. Although this time around, that heavy rain could last multiple days. We could have waves of heavy rain into Thursday, into Friday, possibly into next weekend too. So this is a concerning setup for next week in a lot of different ways. You notice on Futurecast, this is the European model, by the way. We get to next Friday, perhaps that front pushes a little to the east, which would limit the severe weather threat beyond Wednesday night and Thursday. But it would keep the heavy rain around into next weekend. A lot of details need to be sorted out with this setup next week. But I mean, we got to get through Sunday first. But look at how much rain the European is suggesting as we get into next week. Not good. Not good at all. It suggests maybe a line of over 6 inches of rain nearby. And again, don't take the exact locations of the heaviest rain here to gospel. It's just giving you that earliest alert, that first idea that we will likely see very heavy rain somewhere nearby, and that could potentially fall in our area as we head into late next week. Over 6 inches of rain, certainly possible when all is said and done. So we need to keep this setup in the back of our minds for mid to late next week, while also trying to get through Sunday night. A lot to pay attention to as we go through the next 10 days or so. And quite honestly, this might be a situation where we're more worried about flooding than severe weather next week. But right now, both of those threats are very much on the table starting Wednesday night. I'll show you the 10-day while I answer a few questions, a few more. Let's see. Any chance the alert days next week get canceled? Too early to say. My gut says no. There might be more, depending on whether we see severe weather or a flooding risk. If the flooding risk continues into next Friday and next Saturday, we're going to have more alert days, unfortunately. I know you guys hate those. We're not fans of them either, but it's just a very active pattern, unfortunately, that we're in the midst of. Let's see. Ashley says, I think I speak for half of us when we say no more severe. Yeah, we're all hoping for some quiet, but unfortunately, it's not the case for a while. So possible supercell Sunday afternoon and then the main line of storms. Yes, that's right. Again, as early as 5 or 6 o'clock for that supercell potential. And then after 8 o'clock Sunday night, that's when the main line of severe storms rolls through. That will be quick Sunday night. It'll be a quick moving line, thank goodness. Next week, not so much. That's why the storm chance you see on the 10-day go all the way into next weekend. Let's see. Could this heavy rain affect the Ohio River? It most certainly could, especially if we do wind up seeing over 6 inches of rain next week. That would certainly cause some issues on the Ohio River and eventually might cause problems for thunder along the waterfront. That's 2 weeks from tomorrow already, so we're going to have to watch that as well. Let's see. Emily says she loves storm season, but concerned whenever there's an enhanced risk. Yeah, we get those fairly often. Not all the time, but we get quite a few during the peak severe weather season. This is our first enhanced risk of the season, so that's kind of why our tone's a little bit more serious this go round. This is our first dose of potentially more significant severe weather as we get towards Sunday evening. So if you have any plans on Sunday, just stay weather aware, especially after 5 o'clock. That's when the severe weather threat will really kick in. If you know anybody that's going to be in Indianapolis, assuming Kentucky gets the Elite Eight, if they're going to be traveling back to Wave Country from Indianapolis, make sure they're aware of this as they're heading home Sunday evening. So that's where things stand at this point. I appreciate all 600 of you watching us on our social platforms this afternoon. Speaking of thunder, do you have an early outlook? I haven't had the chance to look at it too much. I did skim through some data for Thunder weekend earlier this morning. It does look cooler. It does look a little bit cooler depending on which model you look at. And there could also be some precipitation. I'll leave it at that. It's just too early to get into deep in the weeds on that because we've got so much to talk about before we get to Thunder. But again, rain moves in tomorrow afternoon. Just rain. That's it. Most of Sunday looks dry and warm. Once we get past 5 or 6 p.m., we'll have to watch for supercells that could potentially have a strong tornado or two. And then after 8 o'clock Sunday night will be the main line of storms that could be severe, that will likely be severe, with all modes of severe weather possible. Wind, hail, tornadoes, everything. Let's see. One more question, then I got to run. Why is Thunder so early this year? Because of Easter. The weekend that usually Thunder falls on is Easter weekend this year, and they've always tried to avoid the Easter holiday with Thunder. So they bump up Thunder a week early whenever that happens. All right, guys, that's it for now. Appreciate y'all watching. I know I'm not Brian, but we still appreciate you tuning in. We'll have more on the messy setup ahead coming up on Wave News this afternoon, beginning at 3 o'clock. And, of course, we'll be here all weekend watching this setup as we get closer to not only Sunday, but also next week. Busy, busy, busy times ahead, guys, and we appreciate you trusting us to get through this active spring weather. I will see you guys again coming up on Wave News at 3. Take care.